choti makadi madzimbuya nemadzisekuru ndauwe makosi kanya ndokuchingamidzai mose pano. Welcome to my channel, Spiritual Moral Boost, where we uplift, guide, and inspire each other spiritually through the guidance of our ancestors, spirits, and guides. Remember, spiritual awakening is a journey, not a destination. So it's never too late to subscribe, like, and share the video. In Indinwe Twambuya Banda, I'm here to share my personal experiences as guided by my ancestors. How did I know I had a calling? I knew I had a calling by not knowing I had a calling. And what do I mean by this? My journey toward discovering my purpose wasn't immediate or obvious. Like many people, andinakungumuka nerimwe zuva with a clear understanding that I was chosen for a spiritual path. Instead, I went through life unaware, not realizing that the challenges and experiences I faced were all guiding me toward my calling. For instance, sometimes you might feel drawn to certain activities, situations, or people without understanding why. You may be particularly sensitive to certain environments or find yourself in constant conflict with the things that don't resonate with your spirit. These are signs that you are being guided, even if you are not fully conscious of it. Over time, subtle signs, feelings, and experiences guide us toward the realization of this spiritual journey. Here are some of those signs, both subtle and profound, that may indicate you have a calling. 1. Repeated challenges. You might go through difficult experiences that seem to happen again and again and again. You may find yourself in jobs, relationships, or environments that don't fulfill you. Pakadai isusu tinomva tati, muka ubike doro, vadzimu vakurasha. These challenges are often signals nudging you toward your true purpose. The discomfort can push you to search for something deeper, unknowingly leading you to your calling. For example, a person who constantly feels out of place in different careers or relationships might not realize that their discomfort is a sign that they are meant for something beyond the ordinary. Only later do they understand that these experiences were shaping them for their spiritual path. 2. Unexplained sensitivity to energy. Some people may find themselves unusually affected by the energy of people or places. They may feel drained around negativity or uplifted in spiritual environments. These signs can point to a heightened spiritual sensitivity, even if the person doesn't understand it at the time. Imagine someone who always feels overwhelmed in large crowds or struggles to be in certain spaces without feeling heavy or exhausted. Ukangosvika panzvimbo pasiri kuita so unonzwa kamwe kakuneta so kakuremerwa. Unonzwa musoro wangu wati zhururu. Bvudzi rangu ramira. Aikazve, pamwe uchitozonzi unoroya futi. You may not recognize it at first, but these are often signs that you are spiritually attuned and possibly being guided toward a role that involves healing or spiritual work. 3. Dreams and symbols. Another way a calling may manifest is through dreams or visions. You might have recurring dreams of being in the presence of elders, ancestors, or being surrounded by water and animals, not understanding their meaning. Ugorota, mafuko, machira, reretso, kururehanga, njeti, akasiyana machira, uchirota zvuma, zvine rumavara akasiyana. Dreaming of divination bones, dzatinoti hakata, and still not understanding the meaning. Then years later, That's when you realize that these dreams were guiding you to become a traditional healer or a spiritual leader. 4. Feeling misunderstood or out of place. Often people with a spiritual calling feel misunderstood by others. You may struggle to fit in with societal norms and expectations because you are meant to follow a different path. This sense of alienation can be a sign that you are being called, even if you don't recognize it. You might always feel like you don't belong or that people don't understand your perspective. Only later do you realize that this is because your path is unique. Unonzwa vanhu vanenge vachiti mino pane kadhati soka amino hanzwisisike kuti chii, vanhu vachinetsikana newe so tadza kukunzwisisa. It's because of that uniqueness in you as a spiritually gifted child. You might be misunderstood for not going to church. Usaenda kuchechi chaiko. I know I used to go to church, but my spirit ichiramba. Yairamba. Sometimes I would sense kuti something is not right. But because I was raised in a Christian background, brain automatically dzaimba dzatoti yui ndikazvitaura ndinomba ndanzi ndine madhimoni. Because I could not explain to people what I'll be seeing or what I'll be hearing without sounding crazy. And with me, it was even worse. They'll be like, this one is demonic. She's possessed. Can't you see even the redness of her eyes? There's a dark spirit around this child. She needs deliverance. Vedue, ndaitozvirwarirawo zvangu nemaziso. Ende futi zvinhu zvacho so. So now imagine telling the elderly people what you are going through. Already you've been labeled demonic for not even going to church. It's a tough time. It's really a tough time. It's not easy being misunderstood. I signore. There are a lot of spiritually gifted children out there who are lost, who have nowhere and no one to turn to because ngoma ndiyo une mademon, and yet they're actually going through a spiritual awakening. And kuchivanhu, it's a non-starter because kunonzi ndekwemweya yakaipa, ndekwemashiripiti, so automatically unenge uchitonzi wakupedza dzinza the minute you decide kungoenda kuchivanhu, kungoenda kunobvunzira kuenda kun'anga. So tinotya. 5. Unexplained draws to nature or sacred places. You might feel a strong, inexplicable connection to nature, certain landscapes or sacred places, even if you don't realize it. These environments hold spiritual energy that is trying to communicate with you. You may find peace or clarity when you are in these spaces. Someone who constantly feels the need to visit forests, rivers, mountains, or old sacred sites might not understand why they are drawn to these places. Over time, they may discover that these locations are spiritually significant for their calling, especially if they are meant to connect with the ancestral earth-based energies. I remember one day waking up and just deciding kuti ndauda mbonogara musango. Ndakaenda ndikanoita gore rakakwana ndichigara pasi pemuti. Handizivi kuti zvivindi zvakabvepi, handizivi kuti zvii zvaitika. It's only now that I understand that I was going through a spiritual awakening, but at the time I didn't know. It's a story for another day. 6. Strangers offering insights. Sometimes people you don't know may come up to you and share something about your life or energy that seems profound. These random encounters can serve as spiritual messages even if you don't realize it right away. You could be walking in a market or public place, uchingozvifambira also, and someone asingakuzivi may say something like, you have an aura of a healer, or I feel like you are meant for something bigger. Such comments might seem strange at first, but they often carry messages from the spiritual realm. For me, this one, this one started to sound like a broken record for me. My guru, makaisati muprofita imimi muchaita ng'anga, ndinotarisa useka kuti haakudhakwa. A few days or maybe a few weeks later, unosangana nemumwe futi, this time ari sober, and hapana excuse. Although we know kuti hatipererwi nema excuses, we always have something to say. Ada kudzidzira uprofita pandiri, ada kutotangira chechi yake pandiri, afunga ndichamupa mari. Aiwa, kupiko. And you ignore. These people keep coming your way. They just come, passing these comments. Oh, I know I experienced these comments a lot. I didn't pay attention. The message was right in front of me all along, but I just didn't want to listen. I didn't want to hear it. 7, feeling like you are different or old-souled. From a young age, some people feel out of step with their fears. They may feel like an old soul, as though they have wisdom beyond their years or deeper understanding of life. This can be a sign of having a spiritual calling. A child or young adult may find themselves gravitating toward deep conversations about life, death, or spirituality, while their friends are more interested in surface level topics. This sense of being different might be frustrating initially, but can later be understood as part of a unique spiritual journey. Ndopaya pane paunzi muunzwe here matauriro ari kuita mwana uyu ungati munhu mukuru. Tenda kutoti kadhara kamwana nekutaura. 8. Unconscious acts of service. You may find yourself naturally drawn to helping others or offering guidance without consciously thinking of it as a calling. People may come to you for advice, comfort, or healing without you advertising yourself as a spiritual guide. You might always be the one people turn to in times of crisis or confusion. You may not recognize that this is part of your calling to help others until you look back and see how consistently you've been in this role. I remember even in primary school, even high school as well, and after, all my friends would call me when they are going through stuff, when they are going through something. I don't even know if I had the right answers then. Maybe I did, because they kept coming back and they kept telling me, pandataura newe, I feel much better. And you would wonder, what did I do? What did I say? Same incidences kept happening. And it's only now when I reflect that I realize this didn't start now. Asizwa manje. Unotanga kuona tuma patterns. Patterns of you being a leader. Not just patterns of you being a leader, but patterns of you being unconsciously of service to others. It's interesting. 9. Experiencing unusual synchronicities. Synchronicities or meaningful coincidences often happen when you are on the verge of discovering your calling. You may repeatedly encounter the same number sequences like 111 or 222 or 1111 symbols, or hear the same advice from multiple unrelated sources. These are messages trying to guide you towards your path. For example, you might repeatedly see the same symbols like feathers, butterflies, or certain numbers without understanding their significance. After a while, you realize these signs are leading you toward spiritual practices or paths aligned with your true purpose. I remember I would say to my husband, these days amen wandiskurara usiku. Ndumuka every day, exactly 3:05 a.m. And I didn't know what that meant. Or even kana kuenda kuma offices or somewhere. Usvika pamwe room number 106. Urusvika paya uri kunoka. Urutoti rega nditase foni yangu ndonoti dzanguwai. Una foni yako yakanyorawo time 1:06 p.m. And at times it will not even end there. Wati fambe pamwe zuva rakutonodoka. And then una mota maybe iri pamberi pako reg number XXXX 106. This would happen a lot. 10. Sudden loss or change. A sudden life-altering event like the loss of a loved one, a major change in career, or an unexpected health issue can serve as a spiritual wake-up call. These events often shake you out of your routine and push you to re-examine your purpose in life. For example, after experiencing a sudden job loss or the death of a family member, you might feel lost or uncertain for a while. However, this shake-up can eventually lead you to discover a deeper purpose you didn't realize before, such as dedicating your life to healing, spirituality, or community service. I remember ndakagara wheelchair twice from 2 different injuries, but on the same leg, same position, just different angles. And these injuries were years apart. They were years apart. And I remember with the second injury, ndakapepuka. So I thought at the time. But nekufamba kwenguva, with where I am now, ndanga ndiri kure nekupepuka. Or maybe ndanga ndiri kutanga kupepuka, asi ndanga ndisati ndapepuka. But pango yacho, aiwa ndaizvibiga kuti ndapepuka. 11. A growing interest in spirituality or ancient practices. As your calling emerges, you may find yourself increasingly interested in spiritual books, practices, or traditions, even if you've never considered them before. This can be a sign that your soul is ready to connect with the higher purpose. You might suddenly feel drawn to learning about meditation, traditional healing, herbalism, or connecting with ancestors, even if it's completely different from your usual interests. This curiosity is often a precursor to discovering your calling. Ndopa ndakatanga kutoziva zvemachakras, the 7 chakras. I started learning how to meditate. Ndoyoka chinzi kumeditata haumuki haudzoki. So I know ndandine fear, ndandine kakutya kuti ndikavhara maziso pawanenge wakunzwa wakupinda deep mubvafunga kuti andimuke wovhunduka. Yeah, I know it happened to me a lot of times, but I kept pushing because I wanted to understand. I wanted to know more. I wanted to go deep. I wanted to ground myself, protect my energy. And ndauda kutsvagurudza kuti alright, ndiri ndine mudzimu wani wei, zviri kubvepi, zvambodii, sei nini, zvakambotangira kupi, zvichibva kunani, ndiani ari kundipa. Ndaibvunza kunyange pasina vaikwanisa kundipindura. Ndoenda ndonopfugama futi, ndokumbirira, ndotaurira nemudzimu yangu. Redway, kungondinetsa hangu ina hanhana chandoziva kana kawani. Handina nazvechivanhu zvandoziva, handina kana kumbokurira muchivanhu, handina kana kwekutangira. Muda kuti ndiite sei? Madirei kundipa basa kumberi randisina zira naro? Ndinobvunza ani? Hakuna achiri kuita zvemudzimu, ndinonoudzwa nani? Handina kwandichanozviudzirwa, ndaakutobvunza imi, ndimi muchatondiudza. And believe you me, in my dreams they would come. Vaipindura, vaindirotesa, ndotonzwisisa, ndotoona kuti okay. So when you get one piece of information, you want more, you start wanting more, you want more, you want to learn about other cultures apart from your own culture and traditions. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. When you start wanting to understand, that's when you start realizing kuti zvatakakura tichiudzwa sandizvo. Ndopaunotanga kuona kuti takakura tichivanzirwa zvakawanda. Hatingadi kuti kunyeperwa, because zvinonzi vanhu vakuru havanyepi. Takakura tichivanzirwa. So when you open this portal, you start seeing things differently. Unotanga kuvhurika. Woona kuti zvimwe zvinhu zvinenge zvichitaurwa nemadimikira isi tinozvitora literal. Totofamba nacho. Tomhanya nacho takaenda kuti ndozvazvinoreva. And it's not it. So if I say this journey is beautiful, I mean this journey is beautiful. I love it. I'm enjoying every bit of it. Okay, so let's continue with our signs. Ndisandatanga kubuda musaka. 12. Heightened intuition or psychic abilities. Without realizing it, you may start developing a strong sense of intuition or even psychic abilities. You might know things before they happen, sense others' emotions deeply, or have gut feelings that prove to be accurate. So you might predict certain events, feel someone's emotional pain before they speak about it, or have visions and dreams that later come true. These abilities often point toward a deeper spiritual connection and can indicate that you are being called to use these gifts for a higher purpose. This is what we call the prophetic gift. Yekwanisa uprofita. And in some cases, munhu anenge achiti deja vu. Hey, zviri kuitika izvi zvakamboitika izvi. Ndakambozviona. Deja vu. Wakambozvionawo? Spirituality. 13. Feeling called to give up old ways. There may come a point where you feel an internal urge to leave behind old habits, toxic relationships, or material pursuits. This often signals the beginning of a spiritual awakening, even if you don't fully understand why you feel the need for change. You might suddenly feel disillusioned with your career, social life, or certain friendships. You may feel drawn to simplify your life, meditate, or spend more time in reflecting. Pane nguva yekuti zvimwe zvinhu zvaikunakidza zvopedzisira zvakusakunakidza. Angava mafaro, unopedzisira kunzwa kusada. Unenge wakusada zvekuswera uchienda uri mafaro, usingasade zvekuenda pane vanhu. Dzingava shamwari chaidzo, namwe vanhu vanenge usisiri kuda kana kuva padhuze navo. Unotanga kuchinja. Hazvinei kuti mazivana makore akaita sei. This is the point of no return. So guys, these are just some of the signs that I personally experienced, that I've decided to share with you and share with anyone who's going through this spiritual awakening. I would also want to add that your calling often doesn't announce itself clearly from the start. Instead, it slowly reveals itself through life experiences, spiritual nudges and moments of synchronicity. So being open to these signs, even when they seem insignificant, can lead you to your true purpose. So I just want to remind everyone who's on their spiritual path, vanonzi vane mudzimu, vanzwa nekufamba vachinobvunzira vasiri kuziva kuti chii chiri kuitika, vari kusangana nezvinhu zvakadai. I just want to let you know that you are not alone. We are in this together. It's a beautiful journey, I tell you. Midzimu yedu inotichengeta, midzimu yedu inotirangarira, midzimu yedu haitifuratiri semafunguro atinenge tichizviita. Always know I'm here for you if you need advice, if you are going through the spiritual awakening and you feel lost, you feel alone, I'm here.